As soon as the Earth is cut in half, almost all living creatures will come to an end. An apocalypse will begin, which has not been shown in movies. The atmosphere is damaged, the magnetic field will change, and the planet's landscape completely alters. But the planet will be completely renewed, and life, like a phoenix, will be reborn from the ashes. A super powerful laser would be needed to separate the planet. Such a laser has to receive energy directly from the sun. The weapon goes into space on a rocket, thousands of miles above our world. Then, once the laser arrives at its destination, it opens wide to expose plates of solar panels. The laser absorbs and concentrates the sun's rays. Then a powerful energy beam with the diameter of several cities shoots into the middle of the planet. Oceans through which the beam passes boil and evaporate from the high temperature. These vapors turn into a vast thundercloud in the sky. A strong wind drives these clouds over the continents. Heavy rain falls, which floods not only cities, but entire countries. As the tectonic plates shift, tsunamis are created. Huge waves crash onto the shore. The Earth is split in two. And this is just the beginning. The structure of the Earth, or rather, each half of it, is changing. Strong earthquakes occur all over the world. The worst disasters happen near the fault line. Billions of tons of ground are smashed. Massive landslides drag entire cities below. Chunks of land, thousands of miles in size, shoot away from our planet. All living creatures on these pieces of land fly into outer space. Other broken pieces of the planet land on the half that is closest to them. Imagine a huge rock the size of a whole city falling from the sky, and there will be hundreds or thousands of such stones. Those who live far from the cut site have a chance to survive. But even there, earthquakes will destroy houses. The moon will also start to throw off pieces from itself. These pieces, like a meteor shower, will fall onto the Earth halves and create massive explosions. These explosions will create fires. The skies will be covered with ash, and until it settles, we won't be able to see the sun. Both parts of the planet are drifting away from each other. The red-hot heart of our Earth is right in the center between the two. This is the Earth's core, consisting of molten metals. Each half of the core exudes energy comparable to a star. Between the two parts of the planet, a layer of such hot space is created that nothing can survive there. Any item that falls into this space immediately turns into ashes. The mass of the core is much larger than the ground mass, so there's a higher level of gravity. The core sucks in everything that comes close. You can't travel from one part of the Earth to the other. The core's gravity attracts any shuttle. Each half of the Earth now lives on its own. Typically, the core inside our planet rotates and creates the Earth's magnetic field. This field is a shield that protects us from the sun and space. If the shield is damaged, solar and cosmic radiation passes through the atmosphere. Because the core is divided into two parts, the Earth's magnetic field becomes unstable. Power outages begin in both parts of the planet. Microwaves, TVs, kettles, traffic lights, computers, everything is broken. The screen of your laptop or phone starts turning on and off. The video may freeze and the battery runs out and charges in 1 second. Satellites stop working, which means there will be no more GPS. High-frequency radio waves used for communication stop working, which means you can't make calls and send texts. In fact, all power plants may sink underground or be flooded because of the earthquakes, so there might not be electricity at all. Some people are sensitive to solar storms and experience severe headaches. When the magnetic field is damaged, the surviving people and animals will suffer from severe migraines. Scientists will have to invent special helmets to protect people from the sun. For full protection, people will have to live in underground cities. Compass needles no longer point north. They just spin in different directions. The birds go mad. They don't know where to fly to wait out the winter, because the South no longer exists for them. All animals stop migrating. In the sky, planes can't navigate. Plants and flowers can't grow naturally thanks to the increased radiation from the sun. Livestock are poorly fed. The quality of products deteriorates. There's famine. The main goal for people on each half of the planet is survival. In some places, closer to the fault, the Earth's atmosphere is completely damaged. The conditions there will be similar to those in space. There is no air or heat. Only in a spacesuit can you stay in this territory. Unfortunately, you won't be able to jump and fly because gravity still works. Besides, it's gravity that becomes the salvation of our planet. Both parts of the Earth won't fly away from each other because of the force of gravity. Instead, they will rotate and start to attract each other. In 100,000 years, both parts of the planet will reconnect once more, and the Earth will be completely renewed. Since the core is molten metal, it will return to a single heart, but it will take much longer to connect the solid rock of the halves. A scar forms along the entire fault. The scar will be overgrown with forests and flooded with oceans, but there will be strong earthquakes in some places near this scar. By this time, all living things have probably disappeared. On our planet, conditions are about the same as 4.5 billion years ago. Seas and oceans boil, lightning strikes everywhere, tectonic plates change their shape, and lava flows from volcanoes in a rapid stream. The Earth looks like a vast boiling pot, inside which life is gradually created. Because the Earth has decreased in size and the core hasn't changed much, the gravity will be different. On land, it will be more difficult for an ordinary person to walk. They will weigh much more. In such conditions, new, previously unknown life will be created. Today, the world's atmosphere and oceans are polluted, the population is increasing, and glaciers are melting. In the future, things could be much worse for our planet. In 1,000 years, when humanity has mastered space travel, we may decide to change our residence. We'll start looking for other Earth-like planets, and maybe we'll find something. However, nothing compares to our first home, and humanity decides to cure it. Perhaps we'll come up with the idea to divide the planet in half and live on one side. And after 100,000 years, we can come back to a new healthy home. What if you divide other planets? Since they don't have a magnetic field, they won't be as affected. For example, Venus and Mars have no seas, oceans, or lakes. Some scientists think they're entirely dried up because the magnetic field has disappeared there. This led to the complete destruction of the atmospheres of these planets. The solar wind blew across their surface with such force that it dried up all the liquid. The Earth's atmosphere reflects this wind, so thankfully, we're safe. There would be no significant cataclysms on other planets, except for earthquakes. Like Earth, the two parts of each world would simply rotate until they reconnect once more.
Ah, Earth. The third rock from the sun. The blue planet. You get it. Its atmosphere is made up of around 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% argon, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. A nice balance for any living creatures to breathe. The weather here is also perfect for life to exist, unlike places like Saturn, Mercury, or any other celestial object in our solar system. We have the troposphere to thank for that. It's the densest part of the atmosphere on our planet and is 5 to 9 miles wide. It's the layer of the atmosphere that always affects our weather and secures the right conditions for life to exist and to have bodies of water. Earth is just sitting in its orbital path, minding its own business, revolving around the sun until, BAM! Venus and Mars swoop in and spoil the fun. No one wants to leave poor Earth alone. These two relatively large celestial objects moving toward Earth will have dire consequences for our planet, starting with changes in its orbiting trajectory path. The planet's orbits in the solar system have to maintain the right balance so that nothing goes haywire. Of course, if any large object approaches Earth, it would throw our orbiting path off course. The planets will revolve around each other, which will cause plenty of natural disasters on our lanes. This will also affect our rotation timing, potentially slowing it down. Days will not flow but drag by. Animals that rely on daytime will need to readjust their biological clocks. Nocturnal animals will also need to figure out how to cope with the long nights. Humans have adjusted pretty well to the 24 hours a day timing. Time itself is just a human construct to measure things. We'll have a tough time sleeping and adjusting to the stretched day. Marine animals rely on the natural current flow to migrate around the oceans. With Mars and Venus crashing the party, it looks like they will also need to find new paths. Birds migrating to other lands throughout the year will also be confused and not know what to do. In general, the Earth's temperature will rise, and massive heat waves and permanent climate changes will occur. This brings us to our next issue, the heat. The radical temperature rise will turn everything into a barren desert. It'll be summer all year long, especially if Venus is in the picture. Most of the planet will dry up and won't be suitable for growing crops. Venus is hot, really hot. Even though it's not the closest planet to the Sun, it's still the hottest. The temperatures on Venus are close to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, which will melt you like an ice cube. The lands on Venus are generally flat, probably due to the temperatures. It's mainly hot because its atmosphere is thick and traps the hazardous gases inside. If Venus inches its way towards us, it'll invite those gases to our atmosphere and compromise it. Mars, or the red planet as we know it, is very cold. That might stay the same if it starts rotating around us. It's also home to the largest dormant volcano in our solar system, which makes Mount Everest look like a tiny bush compared to a tree. With so much instability, it might just wake up one day and spew out molten lava. Mars has a very thin atmosphere, which makes the planet chilly. Its gravity is quite similar to ours. It's actually very cold and has ice caps in the poles covered with carbon dioxide. The same's true for Mercury. You can only last there as long as you can hold your breath and be in the sweet spot between the sunrise and sunset. The three planets orbiting each other will eventually collide. It's just a matter of time. And the Moon, just hanging out like a fly on the wall, will be so insignificant that something will eventually throw it off course and another planet will capture it to its orbit. Or, in the most dire case, it will collide with one of the two intruding planets. Earth will experience extreme tidal waves like nothing before. The two new planets revolving around Earth will cause a major imbalance, making our gravity shift out of control. Each tidal wave will be bigger than the previous one and will cover the dry land. Plenty of little scattered islands in the oceans will be completely submerged. Coastal cities and towns will also be home to fish. Flat countries in general will need boats to get around. Dams and dikes won't be enough to stop the water from coming in. Everyone needs to move towards higher ground to escape the floods. With the climate getting hotter, the polar caps will melt like ice cream on a sweltering summer day and add to the water level rising. Within a few months, the whole Arctic will be nothing but liquid. But wait, there's more! The crust will wear out due to the instability of the Earth's surface and fluctuating gravity. The Earth's crust is mainly made up of oxygen, which means we're basically walking on air. We might experience more earthquakes than before, and dormant volcanoes will wake up from their deep slumber. The skies will be covered in ash, making flights impossible. No one can travel by sea or by air. Importing and exporting will become history. The overall climate will get hotter, just like in Venus. The three planets orbiting each other and their huge mass might even unintentionally welcome other planets and celestial bodies to join the party. So, what if Jupiter decided to turn up? Now, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. To give you an idea, the Earth would be just the size of a grape if Jupiter were the size of a basketball. It also has the largest storm we can perceive. That's known as the red spot, a place twice the size of Earth that has hurricane-like storms that have been going on for hundreds of years. Now, by the time you're done watching this video, you can expect the storm to still be going at it. Since the planet is huge, gravity must be quite strong here. It also has many moons, some of them of our little Earth. There will be no room for any proper space among the planets. Jupiter's moons will be thrown off course and latch onto other planets around. Some of the moons might collide with each other, causing massive debris to be displaced all over the place. The gravity of the planetary party will attract comets to enter the atmosphere, potentially crashing down on us. Oxygen levels will deplete, so the Earth's crust crumbling will continue. It'll rip open the ozone layer, causing heavy strokes of ultraviolet waves to enter our atmosphere. We won't be able to step outside for too long without some protective gear and oxygen tanks. Human civilization will change drastically. We'll all live in sheltered containers that will provide clean air and safe and filtered sun rays. The shelters will be sturdy enough to withstand frequent earthquakes. We will grow only enough crops to sustain ourselves until we leave the Earth. Since it'll only be a matter of time before the planets collide, the next step would be to create large rocket ships to fly us out of the Earth. With Mars, Venus, and Jupiter revolving close to us, it won't be easy to do so. All the space debris will be blocking us from exiting the space zone area. The only safe place outside this region will be many millions of miles away, where only single planets exist. They may or may not have the conditions to host life, but humans will have the technology to land just about anywhere with similar gravity and construct the right shelters. Eventually, Mars, Venus, Earth, and Jupiter will collide with each other and break like eggs, like a big space omelet. Don't forget the moon's crashing and breaking in the mix, but we'll already be far, far away by then, hopefully.
We've discovered Kepler-22b, a small exoplanet in the Cygnus constellation. Seems like nothing important, right? But it's actually a big deal. This is the first planet located in the habitable zone that was found by the Kepler telescope. In other words, there may be water on this planet, and if there's water, there may be life. Kepler-22b can become our new potential home. So let's take a closer look at it. Actually, discovering new planets is not easy at all. Not all of them can be seen through our super cool telescopes, even the almighty Hubble. Sometimes, the stars are so small and dim that it's really hard to find them on a map. The same thing happened with Kepler-22. In such cases, scientists have to use a special method. First, they take a bunch of photos of the star in different periods of time. Then, they look at them and think, are there any dark dots on this star somewhere? And if they find one, that might be a planet. These photos actually help us to discover some very important stuff. Like, first of all, this planet exists. Secondly, here is its size, radius, and proximity to the star. And finally, will we be able to live there? Now we know that Kepler-22b is very similar to our planet and could potentially become a second Earth. It's also very close to us, only 635 light-years away. Yeah, it's about 3 quadrillion miles, but this is one of the closest options. Kepler-22, the star of Kepler-22b, is a yellow dwarf. It's very, very similar to our Sun. The same size, the same radius, even the age is almost the same, 4 billion years. The difference is only in luminosity. It's about 20% dimmer than the Sun. So, no matter how much you strain your eyes, you won't see this star in the night sky. The planet Kepler-22b is about 2.4 times larger than our Earth, and that's pretty good. More radius means more potential water and space to live. Although going from one city to another would take a while. It's scary to even imagine a 3-day-long plane flight. We don't know the exact mass of this planet, but scientists think it's bigger than Earth's. Actually, the mass of Kepler-22b can be up to 36 times greater than that of our planet. What does it mean? Vigorous gravity. If the planet is 36 times heavier than Earth, then gravity there will be about 6 times stronger. Can you barely lift 20 pounds of potatoes? Try 120. Not to mention that you yourself can become much heavier on that planet. You'll have to get incredibly pumped up just to walk there. You have to literally turn yourself into a bodybuilder just to get to work. The worst thing is that with such gravity, it'd be incredibly difficult for plants to survive there. They'd need at least a little freedom to rise up from the ground. And animals. Our dogs and cats would have to turn into little balls of muscle to survive there. But if this planet has its own animals or other inhabitants, we can roughly imagine what they may look like. They probably have a lot of legs to make moving easier. They aren't really tall, but they're very massive and extremely strong. Muscular giant spiders? Could be worse, I guess. The good news is that this is all unconfirmed information. If we're very lucky, and gravity there turns out to be just a bit stronger than Earth's, then, of course, it'll be much easier to live there. The next thing we know about Kepler-22b is that it's about 15% closer to its star than we are to the Sun. If Kepler-22b existed in our solar system, it would be located somewhere between Earth and Venus. Does that mean we're all going to burn? No, silly. As I mentioned before, the star Kepler-22 is pretty cold, just some 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's why we can assume that the temperatures on Kepler-22b will be about the same as we have on Earth. If the planet orbits its star the same way Earth orbits the Sun, which we don't actually know, Kepler-22b can rotate around its star on its side, like, for example, Uranus. What? Didn't you know Uranus is actually lying on its side? Also, look at its rings. Yes, Uranus also has rings, like Saturn, but they're vertical. The universe is truly a mysterious place. So, if Kepler-22b is really something like that, then the weather on the planet will be, to put it mildly, not very good. Incredibly cold winters will be regularly followed by hot summers. And, just like with tidally locked planets, we'd be able to live more or less comfortably only on the narrow piece of land between these two crazy sides. Let's hope that this is not the case and the planet rotates normally. But it's not all that bad. Studies show that there may be an ocean on Kepler-22b. You already know that water means life, but in this case, it's also a big plus because a planet covered by an ocean always has more stable temperatures. The water absorbs some of the heat and distributes it evenly across the planet. The hot parts cool down, and the icy ones warm up. By the way, that's exactly what happened to Earth billions of years ago. When our planet started getting its first little puddles, our beloved moon helped these puddles to spread all over the planet. Thanks to this, a burning horror that used to be our Earth turned into a cute little ball full of life. So, if Kepler-22b has water but no atmosphere, scientists think that the average temperature there could be around 12 degrees Fahrenheit. But if there's also an Earth-like atmosphere, then the temperature can reach 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be nice. And finally, 1 year there is equal to 290 Earth days, about 9 months. The planet has no natural satellites, so unfortunately, we'd have to say goodbye to a beautiful view of the moon. On the bright side, we'd probably be able to see the sun as a distant little star. We could admire it in the night sky, remembering our home, while not hiding from giant spiders. And this is all that we know at the moment. Unfortunately, it's quite difficult to explore such planets, so there's a lot of very important data that we don't know. For example, what kind of planet is this anyway? Yep, we're missing the most important information about Kepler-22b. We don't know if it's a rocky planet or not. And if not, then all the previously mentioned information means nothing. It may turn out to be a gas planet, or a planet covered with gas but with a solid core, like Neptune, or a water world covered with a giant ocean. In this case, it better be a water planet. Then at least we could build some kind of underwater city there. We could filter the water and eat fish, until we evolve into an amphibious species. Does it even count as evolution if we go back to our roots? Scientists, however, think that Kepler-22b may turn out to be a Neptune-like planet. Some astronomers have even assigned the planet to a category of mini-Neptunes. Yes, this is a real planetary category. But this hasn't been proven yet. But even if, fortunately for us, Kepler-22b turns out to be a rocky planet, we still don't know what the atmosphere is like there. Does it exist at all? What if it turns out to be something like the atmosphere of Venus, which is more toxic than your ex? Then we'd have to dig deep underground to somehow survive on this planet. And then we'd have to come up with a heat source, because it's pretty cold underground. Yeah, let's hope this won't be the case. There are many possibilities with Kepler-22b. So far, we don't have a clear answer. But let's hope that scientists will find it before we load the first people into shuttles and send them to conquer Kepler-22b. That would be awkward if it turns out to be a gas planet, or something like that.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.